Hello guys, welcome to our class for today. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. We are still working with algebra and I'm getting tired of this topic, but what can we do? We have to do it. So we are still continuing. Most of the stuff that we're remaining with is for extended students, and some of the stuff I will request that if you can, extended students will come online, then we deal with the word problems together, because I think they really need us to be communicating. So we are left with a few sections, but most of it is for extended. Only one section is for includes core. So today we are just dealing with a simple thing, and that is the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula. And this formula, you must know it by head. So that is x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So this formula is used mostly when we remember the last topic we did was completing the square method. And I said that mostly you don't use that topic. There's only a section which you use that topic. When I'm done with these three examples, I'll give you that section. So mostly completing the square, students don't really use it in solving the quadratic equations because probably it's a bit difficult, but they use it in expressing equation in a certain way that they usually ask in the books. So I'll show you that one. But for now, we're just going to use the quadratic equation, which you can use wherever you cannot find factors, or when you fail to factorize your quadratic equation. Remember, we have we can solve quadratic equation by factorization. We can also solve it by completing the square, and we can also solve it by quadratic formula. So I'm saying now, when factorization is failed, you could have gone for completing the square, but because it's a bit complicated, I would suggest that you use this quadratic formula. Because with this topic, all you need to understand is all you need to remember is the formula itself and how you apply it. Okay. So now, as you see here, we have a negative b. So in these are a quadratic. We have the value of a, the value of b, and the value of c. So what we do is we take this value. We are basically taking the whole coefficient. We all take these values with their signs from there, and then we place them in this equation, wherever this equation is. In other words, substitution. So where there's a b, we're going to put a b, but we always put brackets before when we are substituting, remember. So that's all we need to do. So, but anyway, before you use it, you need to make sure that your question is expressed like this: ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Even if there was brackets there, all you need to do is expand the brackets, express it like this, and then use what? Quadratic formula. How do you go about it? The first step in quadratic formula is to write the formula itself. So the first step is to x, we'll get two values. Remember, once we are solving quadratic, we get two values. Okay, now before I write the formula, check here. This one is not written in this form. So your first step would be to make sure that this one is written in this form. That means you take the 6 this side, and then it becomes minus 6. So you have x squared plus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0. So that is your first step. Your first step is to ensure that your question is a quadratic equation. All right. Then the second step is to write the formula. So you always write the formula. X negative b, and claim this formula. Plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right. Then when you do that, the next thing is you want to substitute. Whenever we put a negative, then we have a b. What is our b? Our b is a positive side, so you don't really need to say positive. 5 since positive, you can ignore the positive part. So plus or minus the square root of here, brackets also 5 squared minus 4. Now we have an a. What is the value of a? Here the coefficient of a is 1. The of x squared is 1, so the value of a is 1. Then c is the last one. Now this one is a negative. You can see we have a negative here, so this one's negative 6. Okay, then divided by 2, a is 1 again. So you have a mark here, you have a mark there. Then you continue. Now, next mark, we are now simplifying. This one becomes a negative 5 plus or minus the square root of. You can punch this whole thing in the brackets. But if you don't want to do that straight away, you can say 25 is a negative 4 times a negative 6. That gives us a positive 24. All over 2. And if we continue, we see that we have a negative 5 plus or minus, here that's the square root of 49 all over 2. Then we continue, negative 5 plus or minus. Remember, after this we get the answer plus or minus. That's why we have a plus or minus. When you punch square root, you get a plus or minus. So that's why we already have a plus or minus there, divided by 2. Now, if we now remember, it's a quadratic, so we must get two values of x. So the one value of x is when you take the plus sign, the other value is when you take the negative sign. So you're going to see that x is equal to negative 5 plus 7 all over 2, or negative 5 minus 7 is equal to negative 5 plus 7, that gives us a 2. If you punch this in the calculator, you get it 1. Or punch this in the calculator, you get a negative 6. And if you remember, we solved this question, and these are the answers that we get. So that's how you solve. So this one is a bit straightforward. All you need to do is remember the formula, and then you plug in what you're given. Okay, so let's do this one quickly. We write the formula first. X is equal to negative b plus or minus square root of squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Then what is our b? Negative 6 in brackets, remember, plus or minus square root of 6, and it's positive 6 there, and minus 4. And what is a? A in this case is not 1, it's a 3. And what is c? C is a positive 2. And we get over 2 times 3. Then we continue, this one will give us a negative 6 plus or minus the square root of, this will give us 36 minus 4 times 3, 12 times 2, 24 all over 2 times 3, 6. So we continue, negative 6 plus or minus, and if you subtract here 36 minus 24, I can see that here there is a 2. You can see that there we have a 4, we have a 1. So now this one, you see that there is no square root for 12. It's actually a decimal. So what you're going to do, you're going to write your answer in two decimal places. So you're going to say square root of 12. Square root of 12 is negative 6 plus or minus 3.46 all over 6. What is my pen be? All over 6. Then now you're going to select, now x is going to be equal to 6 plus, choose the positive first, all over 6, or negative 6 minus over 6. Now if you punch this in the calculator, the first one I get a negative 0.42. It's not less small. Negative 1.58. So that is how you solve this one. Pretty simple, eh? Very simple. So you can do the same on this. On this last question, first of all, you write the formula b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Then we have negative b. B is now negative 4. Should be careful, right? Plus minus square root of 4 squared minus 4. A is a 3, C is a negative 4, all over 2, A is a 3. So we have a positive 4. Now you must be careful here. When you negative a negative needs to give us a positive. So you don't really have to write it, but I'm just writing it so that you don't forget it. Eh? Okay. Now here we have a 16. This gives us a positive 16. 16 times 3, we get 48. That's 48 here, divided by 6. This gives us a 4 plus or minus the square root of 16, 64 over 6. And therefore 4 plus or minus the square root of 64 is 8 all over 6. So you get your two answers, 4 plus 8 all over 6, or 4 minus 8 all over 6. Then you get your two answers there. You have a 2 there, or negative 8, negative 4 divided by 6 gives us a negative 0.67. So those are the two answers that we get. I think it's correct. It's correct. So these are the answers. These are the answers that we get. Okay, so that is how you use the quadratic formula. Have a good day.